2010. We're at the Thayer Hotel in West Point. My name is Wayne Clark. I'm at the New York State Military Museum. My assistant is Mark Merrick. Sir, for the record, would you please state your full name and date and place of birth, please?
Michael Joseph Ariano. I was born on 16th of October in 1980 in the Bronx, New York.
Did you attend school in the Bronx?
No, my family, we grew up in Rockland County. I attended high school at St. Joseph's Regional High School in Montvale, New Jersey, right across the border. And then went to college at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University in Daytona Beach, Florida.
At Embry-Riddle, did you pursue an aviation career?
Yes, I was interested in becoming an airline pilot at the time, but was always interested in the ground pounding that the Army does. So pursued the aviation degree, but also got linked up with the Army ROTC down there.
Okay. Did you get a pilot's license?
No, yes.
Commercial?
Yeah, the commercial multi-engine instrument rated, still current with the pilot's license. Not instrument current, but I still fly recreationally. So.
Now, did you, while we're on that subject, did you consider becoming a rotary wing pilot?
I did, but you know, there was something about the ground pounding that I really liked. I had read about doing the whole Ranger infantry, but yeah, that really interested me a lot more, so I decided to go that route.
Okay. So you graduated from Embry-Riddle, got your degree, and you were in an ROTC program.
That's correct.
Through them, and you went to Fort Benning, Georgia.
Yes, for the...
did you attend basic at Benning?
Yes, that was the infantry officer basic course, which is at Fort Benning, Georgia. So yeah, that was in January 2004.
And did you go to jump school at Benning too?
I did. I went as a cadet in June of 2001.
Okay.
And yes, and right after the infantry officer basic course, went right into Ranger school. Entered Ranger school in June of 2004, and it was awfully hot down there, and graduated August 6th of 2004, and shortly after that, reported up to Fort Drum, New York.
And so at Drum you were with the 10th Mountain?
That's correct, 1st Brigade, 10th Mountain.
And how long were you there?
I was there for 4.5 years. I got there in September 2004 and left in March of 2009, so yes,
what did you think of Fort Drum?
I liked it. I mean, I'm from Northeast. It gets awfully cold up there, but a lot of people don't like it because it gets so cold and you get all that lake effect snow, but I didn't mind it that much, and good unit, did a lot of training. And the 10th Mountain happens to be, I was told this, the most deployed unit since the end of the first Gulf War. So not including Operation Desert Storm. After that, unit went to Haiti, to Somalia, Bosnia. They deployed to Hurricane Andrew in '92, and we were the 1st Brigade was actually the first, from what I was told, don't quote me on this, but the first conventional Army unit to deploy to Afghanistan for Operation Anaconda. So.
All right. And when were you deployed overseas?
We left on August 4th. I left August 4th, 2005 to Baghdad and came back just a year later in July of 2006 on July 30th.
Now, did you go over with
1st Brigade? Yes, with 1st Brigade, 10th Mountain.
Right?
Yes, our whole unit.
Okay. What was your job over in Iraq?
At that time, I was a company executive officer of the headquarters company for the brigade. So the brigade headquarters company was there, and I was the executive officer, so I would, you know,
what were your
make sure,
responsibilities?
you know, tracking maintenance. Wasn't supposed to do a lot of fighting, unfortunately, but like I said, tracking maintenance, making sure all classes of supply were there. Would plan ranges once in a while. When people would come and visit, when high dignitaries would come and visit, if the brigade commander wanted to have a session with lower ranking soldiers like privates or sergeants to get feedback directly from them, they would have meals, and I would be the guy to make sure that would happen. So a lot of these little jobs that don't don't have a whole lot of work, that I would make sure those things would happen. So, and also really quickly, for a short time I was the acting PSD platoon leader, and what that is personal security detail. It's a platoon to make sure that the high-ranking officers and high-ranking NCOs in the brigade are safe when they go out on a mission.
So you spent some time outside the wire?
Oh, yeah, I went on, say, 25, 30 patrols.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Any contact with the enemy?
Yeah, first only time was February 11, 2006. It was in the evening, and I'll elaborate a little bit on that. That's pretty much my only war story. But we were coming back from a range. Our brigade was centered. Our headquarters was on Camp Liberty in Baghdad. That's the main camp there. We also had units on some other outlying bases, outlying FOBs and camps. We were coming back from a place called Camp Justice. We had just done a range there, just to continue making sure our weapons were still zeroed and we could still shoot straight. We had to keep all those skills. It was in the evening time, around 5 o'clock, and at that time of the year, the sun is kind of low on the horizon, so it was in your eyes. And we're coming back, and usually nothing had happened when you go on patrols, But all of a sudden, my squad leader yelled out, "Someone just shot at us on a bicycle." And we kept on moving, and I mean, as the officer, I had to make a decision, quickly, and these things jump up on you really, really fast. So I asked if everyone was okay, and they were, and someone suggested, should we go back and try to get this guy? And after a quick thought, I mean, would think, absolutely, let's try to get him. It was, probably the most confident decision I've ever made.
Mm-hmm.
So we found a turnaround point, started to go back, kept our spacing. Everyone, the gunners, were eyes were open, looking for where this guy was. We got to the place where we thought this fellow shot at us. My squad leader yelled, "There's a guy on a bike," and he took off and after this guy. And I mean, we're only talking a lane's worth of traffic. I mean, traveling 100 feet between the time where we saw the guy.
What was he chasing him with? Humvee?
The Humvee. He immediately did a pull and boom and got him. And he was on a bicycle. So we all went, and this was on a corner of a building. So there was this corner of the building. Then there was a break of about several hundred feet of just open. I mean, this is a city, just an open area. It wasn't like there were buildings all around us. But anyway, we were at the corner of this building, all four of our Humvees, and he took off. This guy was immediately startled. He started to take off on the bike. He was about to get on. My squad leader fired 2 warning shots. I noticed immediately this guy did not have a weapon on him. Mm-hmm. And immediately, in a split second, I thought of a story that my old battalion commander told us of how there was a range unit that shot an unarmed civilian who was running away. The range unit didn't know who he was. He thought he was an enemy, but he was just scared. So yeah. When I saw he didn't have a weapon on him, I yelled at my squad leader, "Hey, stop! Let's go and detain him." Or we were in Humvees; we could easily outrun this guy. So mm-hmm. One Humvee kind of took off down the street, but where we got back, my squad leader got back in his Humvee and sprinted, just put the gas to the metal, travel a couple 50 feet or so, not very far, but enough to get in front of the guy. A couple guys got out and we grabbed him. At that point, that's when the shooting started to take place. We had an interpreter there. He started to ask him questions. Hey, this guy shot us. What happened? And the guy said, this young boy who started to scream and cry and yell Allah, Allah, Allah. He was petrified. Said, "Well, I didn't shoot at you, but I know who did. These guys are in this building, and this building is right next to us." Mm-hmm. So I looked at my squad leader. We looked back at each other, and we both thought the same thing, that we didn't have the guys to go and try to clear this building. So we thought, let's stay here. We can call QRF. So we spread our Humvees out so we have 360-degree security. And as the officer, I mean, I'm pretty much my 2 really important jobs, among others, is to give an order, make it.
Do you want to stop it for a minute?
Yeah.
until he's done with the speech.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, we had established security right after we detained this fellow, this guy in his late teens on a bicycle. We detained him and put a blindfold over him, put him in one of the Humvees with the interpreter, and set up a 360-degree security on the corner of this building. That's when we started to get shot at. At this point, my squad leader is, saying what's happening on the radio. And like I said before, my job as an officer is to make a decision and also communicate with higher. So I'm calling up to my higher brigade headquarters saying, this is where we are. Can we get a QRF out here to help us? As we're getting shot at, that's the only time in my life I've ever heard my heart pound. But I'm trying to keep as cool as I can, telling the guys to, if you see a target, shoot at it, and also communicating with higher, saying, look, we're taking some fire, get QRF out here, this is where we are, etc. Trying to keep as cool as possible. So, and the way I forget how long, but the thing I distinctly...
You had the building surrounded.
We had a corner. Well, we were staged on a corner of the building because this was a big complex. We couldn't surround this whole complex.
Okay.
We had 360-degree security, and when we were all in our vehicles and we had the detainee in one of the vehicles, that's when we started to take some fire. And my squad leader was saying on the radio that we were taking fire. I distinctly remember seeing a bullet impact on a puddle about 50 meters ahead of my vehicle and seeing the big geyser of water come up out of the air, which, I don't know how high it was, but it seemed pretty high. One RPG was fired at us, and there's nothing like my squad. I remember a squad leader, someone yelling on the radio, RPG, just like in the movies that you hear. But we stayed there. Weren't able to fire any of our weapons, unfortunately, because I guess the guys just were able to get up out of the building, and I didn't see anyone firing weapons at us, and like I said, we were all inside the vehicles. I was communicating with higher and everyone. But there was a point, my gunner, at that time we had something called a Swanson shield, and what this shield was is 3 pieces of glass on top of the outside of the turret, so that if you stand up in the turret, say if it's at neck level, one of our mechanics put pieces of glass that would be just above your head level, but you could still obviously look out because it was glass, but it was the same type of glass that they use on the fronts of Humvees, so it could still deflect, maybe a bullet shot at it or a lot of shrapnel. And there was a bullet that ricocheted off the ground or off one of our vehicles and hit my gunner right where his head would have been, but the shield protected him. So that was pretty amazing. And then at that point, after I'm not sure how long, probably only a few minutes, but a lot of things happened. Some QRF vehicles arrived, another 4 vehicles from Camp Justice and QRF, the quick reaction force. Those are guys that are in their vehicles, ready to go at a moment's notice. After that, we were told to leave. Someone else, and this is where the story gets, a big lesson learned for anyone listening, especially an officer or someone in charge. When you're the guy on the ground, you're the guy that makes the decision. Anyone that knows me know that I'm a shy person. I have a very passive personality, and unfortunately in the military there's some people that would take advantage of that. There was a major in our brigade talk who knew who I was on the radio, and he pretty much, after a discussion on the radio, him using a lot of condescending words, we told them that we had a detainee, and they told us to basically to let the guy go, and that's a decision I'm always going to regret, because even though it was an order from higher, he should not have ordered us to do that. And again, this is someone who is probably a little bit jealous of the fact that here's a new fresh lieutenant, getting combat, and here's a major who's been in the Army for a long time and, had not really seen any combat. So later on, well, what happened after that, after unfortunately, we let the guy go, we drove back to our base, to Camp Liberty. We were going only about 10 miles an hour because the RPG that was fired took out the back wheel of the vehicle that was behind me. So not my vehicle, but the vehicle that was behind me, his right back tire. So when I got back to base, everyone's coming over me. A bunch of people are, and don't forget, where I worked, I was one of the lowest ranking persons where I worked because there are a lot of majors, and this is a brigade talk, so our colonel worked there, a lot of majors. A lot of people were telling me that I made the wrong decision pursuing this guy, etc. But again, if anyone's listening to this, when you're the guy on the ground, you make the decision. Don't worry about getting an ass chewing. A lot of people are jealous of what might happen and things like that. So later on in the chow hall, the same major that told us to let this guy go came up to me and all of my soldiers, and I mean everyone that was in this small contact we had. We all sat together for dinner and started talking about it. He came up to us and said that that I made the wrong decision and said everyone shouldn't have done that, blah blah blah. Unfortunately, being the person I am, I did not disrespect him. I should have challenged the guy, but again, he was a major, I was a lieutenant, and if I could do it all over again, I would have acted a little bit differently. But when he left, all the privates and the NCOs were all shaking their heads at this major, so what happened, but I was happy that, with my first taste of combat, that I didn't, freeze up, and that the soldiers that were with me, especially the NCOs who had seen some combat, they felt comfortable going out with me again on submission. So that's my war story there from my first deployment.
So you did two deployments.
That's
you
right.
Did another one in 2008.
Yes.
Were things pretty much the same, or was there much difference in the second one?
Things were different. When I came home from my first one in 2006, if anyone will remember that.
Now, how long were you over there the first time?
It was a year.
A year. Okay.
So yeah, the second time was 15 months, so just a couple months over a year. If anyone, people remember, late 2006, early 2007, especially late 2006, there was a lot of violence erupting in Baghdad. People were saying withdrawal, and I distinctly remember John McCain. He was one of the guys that said, "Look, we need more troops. Let's do the surge." And so, of course, what the surge meant, really, you don't send extra guys over there. You just extend deployments of guys who are already over there, and maybe some units that are going to deploy, you move their deployments up, so at any one time you have more people, more soldiers there. So we were extended for this time. We left for a second deployment in late August, I believe it was August 25th of 2007, and we knew it was going to be 15 months. So it's not like, I had a buddy that was there, and 2 months away from thinking he was going to redeploy, gets the word, well, you're going to be here for another 3 months. So, and I mean, in that respect, I consider myself lucky. But we were up in the Kikruk area. I can't really tell you if it was how much the same it was, because we were in that's a different part of Iraq, and a lot of people don't understand Iraq is really 3 countries in one, because there's really 3 ethnic groups that are there in the south, in the central part of the country, and in the north where the Kurdish people are. And Kikruk is kind of the border area between the Sunni Arabs and the Kurdish people. And so I was up there on something called a MIT team, a military transition team, and our job was to help train the Iraqis to be more independent, so we can obviously get out of there, so they can self-sustain themselves. And so my job was to act as a logistical advisor to a brigade, a brigade S4, which in the Army, the S4 is a supply guy, the logistical person. So I was supposed to advise him and basically help him out, try to get things, help him establish, any continuity he needed. So we got there after doing some training in Kuwait. Got there in late September to our FOB. It was FOB Gaines Mills, which is just outside the main base at Kikruk. The main base at Kikruk was called FOB Warrior, and the Air Force calls it Kikruk Air Base. So we were just southwest of FOB Warrior. Fob Gaines Mills, by the way, happened to be, if anyone's ever heard of Chemical Ali, happened to be one of his getaways. So it was funny. There was saw all these buildings there, buildings there, and there was a pool there that obviously no one used. It was dried up. There was about a football field-sized depression in the middle of it, and it turned out to be an old fishing place that I guess Chemical Ali would use. And of course, again, that was all dried up. So we never, But I was there for about a year, just under a year on that base, and we went out on just over, I think, about 150 patrols with the Iraqis. Every time we went out, the Iraqis, they were in the lead. They did a lot of the missions. They did a lot of the work. One big thing I was definitely proud of was in the Iraqi brigade, there were 6 battalions underneath this Iraqi brigade, and they didn't have any system of, tracking supply or tracking what they requested for. So after being with these people, for close to 3 months, myself and my NCO that worked with me, we had figured out, what we needed to improve on. And just so everyone knows, when you're on the SMIT team, you don't meet with these people every day. Sometimes the Iraqi officers, they'll take a leave for a week. Sometimes you'll go on a mission and you won't come back till you'll be gone all day. So it's not like you're meeting with these guys every single day. But what I was most proud of was that we established a solid line of communication with them, requesting what they needed, requesting everything on paper. It went from the battalions to the brigade. I would take a look at it. If it was something that I could get them, I was able to get them, and it basically made them accountable. If there were things that they requested, I would send it back through the brigade chain of command, using their supply system, making them do the work. And I remember one thing we had to get them I think like a 6 or a 7 ton what do you call it, jack press, to lift up vehicles. Hydraulic, yeah, thanks. It had to, and I remember, painting that, making a mark to make sure that this got to them, because, we all know that, there are a lot of the Iraqi officers, or a lot of people in the Iraqi military. Some of them are corrupt. They might take things and sell it to whoever. So, after I gave it to the brigade officer, about a week later, we visited an Iraqi brigade who I knew should have gotten this thing, and there this hydraulic press was. So that's what I was most proud of. Another good thing is what people might not understand initially, but when you think about it, that a lot of these Iraqi officers, or I'm sorry, not necessarily officers, but a lot of the people in the Iraqi military, they know a lot of the insurgents. They know where they are and things like that. I'm sure in America, if you want to go out and buy some drugs or whatever, you know who to go to. The team that we replaced had a very bad reputation with the Iraqis. They treated them very bad, very, very poorly. They hardly talked to them. A lot of things that were pretty shameful from what I understood. I distinctly remember, after a couple of weeks being there, after this other team had left, one of the Iraqis said to my major, he said, whose name was Major Hislop, he said, "Major Hislop, good. Major," the other guy yet said his name, Major Lee, very bad. But there was, not surprisingly, there was a difference in IED attacks on the road that our brigade had to secure. And I don't think that's a coincidence that when we started to talk to these Iraqis, people in this Iraqi brigade, get to know them, go out on patrols with them, that the IED strikes on this road, which was just called Route Cherry, they decreased by an awful lot. So these interpersonal skills in today's military are a big thing. You can't just kill everyone you see. It's just the way the world is, and things like a video camera can have a huge impact on a war today. So that's something that again, our team was very proud of. We know that we left that Iraqi brigade a lot better off than it came. Something else, about once a month there would be a few mortar attacks on our FOB, and none of the mortars landed close to where we were. But in April of 2008 was the last attack we had on our FOB. You know, 3 mortars came and they landed wherever, and we're like, okay, well, you know, because this happened a lot. After that, again, no more mortar attacks for the rest of the time we were there, which is up until late August. So a good, you know, 4 or 5 months of no attacks on our FOB. And again, that's not a coincidence. I think the fact we were patrolling with the Iraqis, more security, really helped out with what we were doing. So.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you for your interview.
All right. Thanks for interviewing.
Okay, Norm.